Welcome to Imperfect Together. I am Chris. This is Zach. And if you were tuning in last week, Zach decided to show up and get a haircut right in the middle of this thing.
I did.
And put a bowl on his head. Zach, one of his missions is always try to throw me off. Correct? Isn't this what you do?
No, I
That is
just
a lie.
I double booked my appointments. I apologize. I apologized in the beginning.
Because you would book an appointment with Nick to begin with. But
Chris really likes to hold a grudge.
so Zach, threw me off a little bit with coming in and getting a haircut. But, we carried on because we don't really edit it. And we threw out there that you have to keep it this way for another week because he was just going to shave his head.
Yeah.
Well, then Jenna was on here with us last week, and she said, yeah, we're also going to dye your hair. So we dyed it blonde.
Yeah.
But we kind of took it a little bit step further. And on Wednesday night in junior high, we continued to put the second coat of blonde on his hair.
Which I thought it was.
And why don't you show us how it turned out, Zach? It turned out pink.
Yeah.
Because he thought it was blonde, and we went pink.
I was not happy.
But here's what I'll say. I told you could go shave it because you had 2 baby showers this weekend, and you're not having a girl. So
I'm not having a girl. You're right.
pink just doesn't make sense.
I've learned that people will forget what you said. People will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made me feel. Maya Angelou.
What kind of lies is this? Just remember, you started this, Zach. That's all I'm saying.
People don't forget.
People don't forget. And we have this forever on YouTube now.
People don't forget.
If you're listening, you're going to have to just go watch this on YouTube because you can't see. But his hair is pink. It was a fun time. Got lots of good stuff with it. But here's what I was saying, though. I don't want to say proud of you, but you're a man of your word, keeping it till this episode. Because we said you had to keep the haircut till this episode. But I told you you could shave it once we put it pink. But you stuck with it.
I'm not a wussy.
So, proud of you. You've done a good job.
Yep.
Probably as soon as this is over, he's going to go shave it off. So, I don't know. That's it. So, here's the topic for today, Zach, as we look at your pink hair. Are you an arguer? Do you like to argue?
No.
No?
I'm not an arguer.
I disagree with that. Because you like to argue with me all the time.
I don't argue at all. I don't know what you're talking about.
You're a liar. We're switching topics for today. What is your go-to style when you're arguing? Yeah, we all have this style that we go to. Some are like really loud yellers. Some are passive aggressive. What is your style?
Is it arguing when you always win?
It's still arguing.
But if I always win, the argument, is it an argument?
It may be denial because I'm pretty sure you don't always win.
I win every single argument.
In your own head?
No, like everything.
Oh, so if we
brought
Catherine back in. Yeah. We'll bring Catherine back one day and see what she has to say about that.
Well, I mean, you can.
Because Zach's going to be in the doghouse.
No, I'll win that argument too. I've never been in the doghouse ever in my life.
Okay, so what is your style? What do you, when you get in an argument, what's your style?
I tell her what it is, and she's submissive. And then I do my thing.
Zach, you have now made every girl that watches this hate you. Congratulations.
Marriage 101 right there.
Don't listen to Zach.
I don't know. Like when I argue,
Do you get angry? Are you an angry arguer?
Depends on what it is. If it's I don't know. Very rarely I get angry, but it's just more of, no, you better not do that. I'm sorry, this is making me bubbly. But yeah, Yeah, I would say my arguing style is like I disagree and then I hear, and then, depends on what it is, I get heated. But I don't like the things that I argue about. It's like things that are, I would say that like if it feels like it's attacking me, then I will, and then I will retaliate. But I mean, besides that though, I don't really argue about politics. I don't really argue about sports.
So you argue just for fun, just for sport.
Yeah.
Because you do that, and that's fun. I'll do that too. But when it comes to real arguments that
Give me a
can
real
cause some
argument.
division, politics is one of them. And we're right in the middle of that now.
Yeah.
And I think that's
But I don't really argue about
I don't either.
politics. I think politics are stupid.
I agree.
They're so dumb.
People are different. People have different opinions, and I think a lot of times, here's what I think happens. I think when it comes to stuff like this,
Who are you gonna vote for, Chris?
Zach, you're trying to get in an argument. I don't talk politics. Do your own homework and figure it out. Here's the deal, Zach. When people argue, it happens in one of three ways. You're an angry arguer, so you just get angry and mad and defensive.
Okay.
You can be kind of an on the fence, trying to figure it out. You're in between. You feel torn type arguer. So maybe you see both sides. And then there's other people that just don't care at all, whatever the topic is. And I think arguing can apply a lot of different things. It can apply to politics and things that are. There's a lot going on. I feel like our world is just divided right now.
Yeah.
With COVID and politics and elections and race and so many different things. So there are things that people just get passionate about that can cause big division. And then there's other things that we argue about with siblings or whatever that doesn't matter. Like, did you have siblings that, like where you argued over the remote and who was going to sit in the front seat and that kind of stuff?
I roughly remember, but I also didn't care.
You didn't care about shotgun?
Oh. Yeah. As long as I got a window seat, I was fine.
So what if you got stuck in the middle?
Well, I only had two other siblings, so I always got window.
You should just fight them for it?
No, we all had window seats. Window.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say with arguments though, I probably hold it in. I just, like if someone dismisses me or whatever, I swallow it, and then I just wait till it builds up.
And then whenever.
And then you explode.
Well,
I think I do that.
I don't explode.
You can push me so far, and then I'm just.
I don't explode, but it's more of I get short. I would say that's what I do.
Do you think arguing is wrong? Is arguing a sin?
No, I don't think so. Because it's an emotion.
I agree with you. I was just curious what you said.
Yeah. It's an emotion. It's it's being sad is sin. No, to get angry is sin. No, it just depends on how you respond or how you filter that, argument.
All right, so let me ask you this. Is there a right or wrong way to argue?
I'm sure there is.
You just don't know it?
I just don't know. I want you to tell me.
All right, I'll tell you. So I'll get to it later because I want to jump into something talk about James for a little bit in the Bible, but something that we learned in marriage counseling on how to argue.
Marriage counseling. How did that go?
Did you not do marriage counseling when you?
No, I went to marriage counseling. It was about her being submissive and the husband getting what he wants.
See, here's the thing, Zach. Anybody that knows you knows that Catherine wears the pants in this relationship.
That's not true. That's not true.
Okay.
Yeah. She's uncomfortable because of me.
She's uncomfortable. It's because you have pink hair.
That and she's pregnant.
Yeah.
It's all your fault, Zach. So, all right. So let's look at the question: Is there a right or wrong way? So there's a guy, James, who wrote the book of James. James was Jesus' brother. Imagine if your brother. You have a brother, don't you?
Yeah, I have a brother.
Imagine if your brother, who you grew up with your entire life.
Hold on, James is my brother?
No. Imagine you're James.
I'm James.
You're James, and your brother is Jesus.
Do I have an apple farm?
Nope. You're a carpenter.
I'm a carpenter.
I don't know if James ever did that.
No, I'm pretty sure. James definitely had an apple orchard.
James was the apple orchard guy, and Jesus was the carpenter. He built tables. Mm-hmm. But imagine if your brother, your entire life, is claiming to be God.
My brother was claiming to be God?
Yes.
What kind of evidence does he have to state his facts?
I don't know. He's only growing up as a kid.
So he's a kid.
You're going through childhood, teenage years.
So he's a 3-year-old kid.
No, you're God. 17, and you're telling, if I'm Jesus, I'm telling you, hey, James, I'm telling you, I'm God. You're like, yeah, whatever.
My brother's saying that.
Yes, your brother named Jesus. Why is this so hard for you to follow?
Oh, I'm picking up what you're putting down. I would say, all right, well, you better do a miracle.
A miracle?
Yeah, I got a mole in my neck.
At that point, I don't think Jesus had done any miracles.
Yeah, well, I would be like, all right, if you're the Son of Man, why don't you get this mole that I have in the back of my neck and fix that, and then we'll.
Maybe there's nothing wrong with the mole.
Oh, well then, maybe it's just ugly and I don't like it.
Needless to say, you probably don't believe him.
Yeah, I probably don't.
Probably don't believe him. And then he goes off.
I would test him first.
Yeah, so later on, he went off into the wilderness with all his buddies, still claiming to be God.
Yep.
James probably still kind of just stayed away and didn't believe him, right? So that's the background from the verse I want to look at. Because James goes back later and learns that this whole time, Jesus was actually right.
Yeah.
Oh crap, he is actually God. God in human flesh. And there's a verse in James 1:19, I think. It says, be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry.
Yep.
All right. So in this...
Was he in A Giant Peach when he said that?
That's a terrible movie. Nobody cares about James and the Giant Peach. None of these high schoolers even know what you're talking about.
What, man?
The book is way much better than the movie.
There's a movie?
Yeah.
No. See, nobody cares.
Yeah.
All right. Why is being quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry important? Why is that applicable in the topic of arguing?
I think it's important because it helps us communicate to the arguee of how we need to communicate. Isn't that right, Chris?
I don't even know what you're saying.
What I'm saying is...
It helps us communicate to the communicatee.
Obviously, I'm not on my game today. But, yeah, it's a way, it's a tool that Jesus gives us to communicate effectively to our argument person. Our argument buddy.
What is the tool?
Be slow to speak, slow to anger,
Okay,
and slow to slow to walk.
Slow to walk. How does
Oh, it's quick to listen, slow to speak, slow to anger. Yeah.
Zach, I think this pink is getting to your head.
Yeah.
It's fried you on the inside.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah. Yeah, let's
What about this? Here's what I think, when it comes to being quick to listen.
Okay.
I'm a listener. I feel like I do this. And then sometimes when you get in arguments, you don't listen at all to the person that you're arguing with. You're just thinking about the next thing that you're going to say.
I do that all the time.
Yeah, I think most of us do.
Yeah, it's just fueling it. Like you have like.
Yeah, you're like, I don't care what you're saying
that.
right now. You're just giving me time to think about the next thing.
You said that. I'm gonna put that in my chamber, and I'm like, poof.
Right, which is a tactic or a style like we were talking about earlier, right? But
That was very violent. That was like an argument gun. What was it?
It's kind of like a salt gun when you're shooting the flies.
Yeah. Yeah.
But here's what I think happens.
All right.
I think being quick to listen helps you understand where the other person is coming from. And I think if both parties would actually do this, arguments wouldn't be so bad, right? Because what I've usually found is there is some kind of past experience or there's a reason that somebody feels the way that they do about a particular topic. Whether, well, let's take most topics, more like important stuff. Nobody cares who gets the front seat. That's just something you're arguing over because you're siblings.
Yeah.
But in bigger things, especially with issues going on in culture and in the world today, there's usually a reason somebody feels the way that they do. And instead of us trying to just defend our point, I think it's helpful to be quick to listen and understand, okay, why do they feel this way? Because maybe then it helps us understand something different.
Yeah.
Now, that doesn't mean we have to agree. I don't feel like every argument has to end in agreement.
Yeah.
Because people have opinions, and that's fine.
Yeah.
And that's all based. But I think what does matter is what is more important in the argument. Is it winning the argument?
That I get my point across.
Right. That's what we feel. So it's either that, winning the argument, or is the person I'm arguing more important than the argument? Because ultimately, my relationship with people should be more important than whatever my opinion is on a topic.
Yeah.
All right? Because it would be very easy for you and I to get an argument, even over me dyeing your hair pink or something, that makes us all of a sudden not be friends anymore because we can't agree on something. And the reality is you never win an argument when you lose a relationship.
Yeah.
Right? Hopefully, you or whoever I'm arguing with is more important to me than whatever the point is I'm trying to get across. Yeah. So back to marriage counseling.
Okay.
So Tammy's uncle did our marriage and our marriage counseling. And one of the things he told us is that anytime you get into a place where you just cannot come to an agreement in an argument, he said, put your hands out, or you put your hand out, and no matter what's going on, the other person has to put their finger in your hand. And we're like, what the heck are you talking about? Right? But the whole idea was coming to a place where it's okay if we don't agree, but letting this divide us is not worth it. So if we can't agree, we can agree to disagree, and we're going to come back together. And whether you like it or not, we're saying, okay, this is it. We're done fighting. The relationship that I have with you is more important than me winning this argument or you winning this argument. Now, that's not easy to do, right? Do you get in arguments like this?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we got in an argument the other day about something. And it's usually stupid stuff.
Yeah.
But, you get in arguments, and ultimately both of you are 100% positive you're right.
Yeah.
In those moments, I have to step back and say, you know what? My relationship with you is more important than whatever this topic is. I'm not going to let this divide us and break it apart. It's over. It's done with. I've heard you. I respect that. Maybe you changed my mind. Maybe you didn't. But either way, you're still more important.
Yeah. So, all right. So let's talk about a few days ago whenever I said, the sky is too fickle and it's a play place for butterflies, and you disagreed with me.
Zach, you just made this up.
No, I didn't.
No, you wrote this down in your notes of something you wanted to ask me that I never said.
Sky. I said that the sky was too fickle. It was a play place
Explain that.
for butterflies. It was a play place for butterflies. It's butterflies for
What
to roam
does
around.
fickle mean?
Fickle? It's
It's fickle.
it's fick for short. It's like, oh, I don't want to touch that. It's like gross. It's like nasty. It's like
All right, I'm looking up the definition of fickle because I don't believe you one bit.
it's like a, I don't know,
Fickle meaning.
fickle.
Changing frequently. The sky is fickle, Zach. It changes frequently, especially as
So now you agree
And it's a
I'm
play-
telling you, you've never
that the
had this
sky
conversation.
that the sky,
Is a play place for butterflies.
Especially as regards one's loyalties, interests, or affections.
so the butterfly.
Patrons are a notoriously fickle lot, bouncing from one site to another on a whim. That doesn't even make sense, but
So we all agree that it's a play place for butterflies.
the
That's
sky.
all this guy is.
That's
We don't
all it
count
is?
birds.
We don't count birds because birds aren't real.
So what are they?
They're mechanics.
Robots.
Robots, yeah. Dude, you need to read a book.
This is all coming from a book?
Man, I know my stuff.
is this,
Birds aren't real, man.
What book is this?
The news.
The news isn't a book.
Why don't you read a newspaper? It talks about it all the time about how birds aren't real.
Nobody reads
There's-
newspapers
There's
anymore.
lizard
People and the Earth is flat, and I mean it goes on and on, man.
I think
You want to go into
lost it.
you want to go in that rabbit hole? let's argue about some conspiracies, man.
You have lost it.
Well, on that note, we're going to close this thing out. Here's the deal. Here's a challenge for you if you were listening or watching. When it comes to arguing, look, you're going to have your opinions. That's fine. But remember that relationships are more important than whatever it is, the topic that you're arguing about. So here's the challenge. Who is one person that your relationship with them will be better if you put this verse into action, right? If you actually took the time to listen to them and be slow to speak and slow to become angry and to empathize with them and take time to actually gather your thoughts before you say something, because a lot of times we just react and we say things that we don't mean.
Yep.
Right.
You've done that before. We've all done that.
Yep.
So that's your challenge. Who is somebody that you can put this verse into action and see if that begins to change the way that your relationship with is them? Because people are more important than any topic that you can be arguing about, whether it's a favorite sports team or who's going to win the election or whatever it is. There are a lot of issues that are important and they can be debated and they can be talked about, but don't let that divide you. All right? So that is it for today. Zach, I don't know where you're coming up with this stuff. And it looks like you have another one that you wanted to
No,
say.
I have nothing, man.
Just write down random stuff. Oh, Zach. No, we're already out of time. We're out of time.
What do you prefer, chipmunks or squirrels?
Chipmunks just sound cooler. My daughter has 2 flying squirrels.
That's cool. All right. Well, next week we're gonna talk about words. Holla at you. Holla at you then.
I don't know what he's talking about. See y'all next week. Talking about words.